the chat. There we go. Hello. How is everybody doing? How's things? How's life? How's the universe? How's your week been? Hold on. Right. Hello, Ish. How you doing? Hello, Ish again. Double. My YouTube chat, like I have a YouTube chat window open like usual now. But normally I get it from the YouTube Studio page. But today it's a monkey. It's a something went wrong monkey, so I've had to open the stream. Oh shit, hold on. Oh god. Fixed it. Fixed it, sorry. I had to open the stream in the like standard YouTube to get that back. Hello Simon, hello Joe. How you guys doing? How's things? How am I doing? Complicated? I had my day ruined yesterday. A bit of a recovery in. So basically, I was scheduled to have my first infusion of the bioweapons, sorry, biologics, infliximab yesterday. I got a call like 10 minutes before I was getting ready to leave to say, hey, by the way, don't come in. You've had your blood test result hasn't come back yet. Don't come in. Bye. I was like, first of all, I was told that I could start without the blood test result. Like I could have not had the blood test at all. This was just an abundance of caution. They'll check it because why not? Second, I am really not well. I can't wait another 2 weeks to start the treatment that will take a month to take effect. So they fit me in today instead, which I guess worked out. Yeah, the next problem is that I had a mild allergic reaction. I had a bit of a rash from having the infusion, which I had today. We dot. Daniela. So I may or may not be allowed to continue having the medication, which is another ball ache because it means starting again with possibly a less effective drug as well. So yeah, fun, complicated. Is it a little less cold up there, Joe? And just as sweaty down under, Simon. And both of you feeling better? Well, me, no, I don't know if that was directed. But it has been warmer today. Or, no, yesterday. It was 1 degree when I left the house this morning. I had to scrape ice off my car again, so yeah. It's still pretty cold here. Out of the minus now at least. Feeling better now. Knee playing up, but good. How about you? Nice. Sorry to hear you're being messed around. It's frustrating, isn't it, when they cancel or miscommunicate things? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm always good. Positive mental attitudes can do wonders. Also, the extreme bliss of being totally ignorant to everything. Nice. How fortunate. Unfortunately, I can't be ignorant to my own healthcare. Some of which I have to entirely manage on my own. Which reminds me, I need to book another appointment. Yeah. How's your studio, Joe? See, I remember things. Just. I've been trying to be ignorant of things, but it's not very easy. Wife's very, very poorly right now, but and it's hard, but got to keep positive. Well, I wish her all the best, and of course to you as well. And yeah, yesterday was a nice 22, and it'll be 24 today, so another nice day. Not 40 and dying. Nice. Well, speaking of 22 and 24, I'm now officially 28. Last Friday. I feel older already. I'm almost 30. Um. Oh, studio's okay. It's dry now. I'm gutting it this weekend, fitting new boarding units and workbenches. Even finally getting full electrics put in next month. Being able to run more than three plugs. Lol. Nice. Well, speaking of electrics, one of the things that I did last weekend was visit my local Costco with my friend, and we may or may not have bought some LED panel lights that Costco has for sale, specifically with the intention of opening them up, soldering wires to the ESP type controller that's in there, and then flashing new firmware on it. Okay, hear me out. So these LED panel lights are a good meter, like 1.2 meters long by, I don't know, 30, 40 centimeters wide. They've got a really nice diffuser, and they're both, it's RGB and cool white and warm white with full control of all of them. So you can have proper indoor lighting, like proper temperature controlled lighting and brightness control. You can use an IR remote if you want, or you can what you call it, connect via Wi-Fi. Now the problem is that despite the lights being a great price, like they're £60 for these massive, LED lights, like full RGB WW lights. It's great. The problem is that if you connect them to your Wi-Fi to be able to remotely control them, and there is a Home Assistant integration, they connect to the server, like the Artica or whatever they're called server, and then back to Home Assistant. It's not direct. And I am not having my lights on the internet. Especially because I need 3 of them. So what I am doing is flashing custom firmware, OpenBeacon, that lets you use them just as an MQTT device locally. And control via Home Assistant or just via lights. I bought a Zigbee like smart switch relay thing that's going to go up in the loft that will run in decoupled mode to power and unpower them and stuff. So yeah, fun. But yeah, that will actually be a video. The whole process of flashing them and wiring them, putting them up using the Zigbee relay, etc. So yeah, stay tuned. I bought one, killed it, returned it, bought another one, was more careful, flashed it successfully, and bought 2 more online, and they'll be here, I think, tomorrow. So I'll probably be doing that over the weekend, like actually essentially doing all the filming over the weekend. And you'll see the video in probably a couple of weeks at this point. So yeah. There is one more thing that I want to show. We had a message on the TechteamGB videos, well, on the Discord, but in the TechteamGB videos channel. A couple of months ago, well, actually, mid last year, I think it's like 6 months ago now, I tried a bit of reverse engineering for the Nanoleaf panels, specifically the controller, which is just there. That little pissant of a controller dies. It has a fatal flaw that, as far as I can tell, Nanoleaf has not improved in any way. I have had 4 of those controllers, all for free, I might add. Like, after the initial review sample, I was like, every time they fail, I put in a RMA request, and even though those are well out of warranty, I get a new one for free because it's a design flaw. The problem is that one day that will fail, and one day Nanoleaf will stop giving me new ones, and that's a problem because, like, the lights themselves are nice enough. I don't want to get rid of them. I want them to work. Now, the problem is that I am not very experienced in reverse engineering, especially when it's like non-standard stuff. Like I'm okay at reverse engineering semi-open source stuff that I can get in, and like fairly standard connections and things I can probably work out. But this is a bit confusing because it's like 42 volt. There's only 3 pins, and when I tried like hooking up, what you call it, a signal analyzer to the data pin, even with a resistor to make sure that the panel doesn't shut down and whatnot. The I just don't know what I'm looking at. Basically, is the short answer. Now, we got a message on the Discord that I forwarded to General so that everyone can see it because it's really cool. And for the first time in a while, I'm gonna do normal streaming things, and I'm gonna show you stuff on screen. I know, it's amazing. So this is Christian Panton, I believe's website. It's christian.panton.org. I'm making some assumptions here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Let me zoom in a wee bit. So they have done a very, very good reverse engineering job, basically, of looking at the nanolith shapes, specifically like the ones that I have and they have as well. They detail the physical interface, so I ended up taking these and cutting them in half so I could get the pins. So it turns out that the digital interface is actually UARTs 8 and 1, which is 8 bits and 1 parity bit. I can't remember. However, it's connected, so the edge pin, the data pin, basically is a single pin with, well, this configuration to allow them to do TX and RX on the same pin. It's pretty cool, and they've done lots of reverse engineering to see what the panels are talking about. Things like the layout detection is actually really cool because I didn't know how Nanoleaf did it, so this is great to be able to see. Diagram there. What was it? The command for colors is also in there, and even more cool, they've got some PCBs coming to be able to essentially have an open source like way to, or maybe not even necessarily open source, but we'll have a third party way to be able to control these buggers when Nanoleaf eventually stops making the controllers themselves. I'm very much looking forward to seeing more from this, especially because I would love to be able to make a proper what you call it, controller, like make a proper like open source Nanoleaf controller that people can make or buy or whatever, that does just work and doesn't fail, and you know, if nothing else, has some basic functionality. But ideally it would be Zigbee or Matter, which would be really cool. I mean, one of the things with the actual controller is that it does actually do a thread network. That doesn't matter for me, I already have a thread network, but it'd be cool to make that happen. So yeah, to be able to emulate as many of the features would be really cool. I'd be keen to see that video. I've learned so much about Big Boy Electrics in the last 3 weeks and getting everything I need to have a consumer unit put in the workshop. Not as simple as one thought. Well, I'm an arrogant prick, so it kind of is, but also, yeah, fair. I've watched a fair amount of like electrician videos. I'm autistic. What do you want? So I have enough knowledge to be dangerous, I think is the answer. And yeah, it's cool. And yeah, I will be attempting to do it reasonably well. We'll see, but yeah. And yeah, you'll see whatever I end up showing in the video. Just set up in a new mate's house, the Dream Machine PoE switch and router. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Dream Machines are really cool. Thanks, finish. Yeah, it's Unify. Which is plug and play, sort out the camera feed and set the recorder nearly on its own. Yeah, so the Dream Machine Pro is basically a PoE switch and a cloud key and a few other things in one. I have a cloud key right on my desk down there and switch 8, the 150 watt PoE switch, with 8 RG45s and 2 SFP plus ports that I use for my Ubiquiti cameras. And it is, I've had a few issues with the cloud key over the years, but yeah, it's pretty plug and play. The only downside is that Ubiquiti used to be quite like open source, everything was local hosted, etc. Now there's a decent push towards cloud stuff, which I know some people aren't the biggest fan of. So yeah, take that as you will. Fortunately, I have friends who are electricians who've run it all in detail and are doing the install for me. Nice. Swap back to me now. 100 meter of 6mm armor cable is surprisingly heavy. Yeah, I mean, especially because if it is armored, I have used. In fact, I run armored cable to my shed. I don't know if it's probably not 6mm. It's probably I think it's 3mm because I'm not running a full supply in and out. It's 13 amps max, which is actually 1 amp is rated for 16 amp. 1mm cable is rated for 16 amps, which is what I'm using for the lighting circuit because lighting circuit. But you know, generally speaking, you add a safety factor. And so yeah, I think it's 2.5 3mm armor cable that I'm running. But if you're running a full supply outside, yeah, you want higher depending on what load it is and whatnot. But yeah, fair. And yeah, I mean the armor cabling is the black rubber core, which is actually quite thick, and then it's I think it's steel strands all the way around. Which he uses, I'm just going to call it guard, the guard terminal. That's from a metrology perspective, you would use guard as that sort of shielding, but you ground the outside as well. Earth it. It's technically British terminology. Grounding is American. Yeah. And so all of that steel adds up, and then you have another layer of rubber, and then the individual rubber-coated conductors. And 6mm is pretty hefty. Is it being... are you having a channel dug from your house to your shed? That's a lot of amps listed. 12 sockets, security system on its own ring, and a spare breaker if I want to add more down the line. Channel dug to the shed. Nice. 6 amps for lighting as usual. In Australia, 1mm is only rated to 10 amps. Supply input 200 amp is 3 12mm lines coming in. There's not much of a voltage difference. It's not like America where they have half the voltage. We're nominally 230, but in my experience it's 240 to 250 volts RMS. That shouldn't make that much of a difference. There might be an inherent safety factor rated there, but I suppose the difference actually is the incoming supply. The UK generally tops out 100 amps of single phase incoming supply. You can have multiple phases that will have up to 100 amps each, so you can have up to 300 amps of standard consumer supply. Ours is 80 amps because this house is 150 years old, and electricity was retrofitted after that point, and yeah. So yeah. We could probably have it upgraded to 100 amps if we really wanted without that much cost. Especially if you were running 60 amps, that's often because you have a twin supply, so your supply actually feeds in and then the cable comes back out to the next house along. If you have a twin supply, that sucks. And that's going to cost you money because you basically have to, like, your house is being fed either directly, but then your cable is then feeding back out to someone else, well, actually to a chain, or you're in the middle of a chain, and that's even worse. So basically, you have to break your connection so that you have one supply line in and no one else out, which then means you need to fix up the other people's supply. It's a pain in the ass. Luckily, we're fine. We're not a twin supply or chain supply, and I don't need more than 80 amps right now, so I don't really care. I have a very small consumer unit with like 4 circuits currently. One for all the plugs, one for all the lighting, one for the boiler. Oh, and one spare one for some of the stuff at the back of the kitchen, like the washing machine and dishwasher, I think. So there's 4 in total, which is low, but that's because it's a relatively small house, it's grandfathered in kind of thing. And I think I have 1 or 2 spare ways still left in there, which I'm probably going to use for various things. I probably need a larger consumer unit, to be honest, but yeah. I won't be running that many amps. Yeah, that's what the breakers are registered for. But it'll be on its main circuit from the consumer unit in the house. Yeah. And the house is a big 4-bedroom, 120-year-old house. It has a rather healthy supply running from the consumer units, all been approved by the electrician. Nice. 63 amps, 240 volts is like 15 kilowatts. So running anything off of that would basically drip fed from your wallet, unless it's a car. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, so the maximum that you generally have with a home supply for an EV charger is 7.4 kilowatts. So I guess that's about 30 amps. So yeah, you generally don't have more. My old house had 40 circuit breakers. My new mate's house has 48 and a 16 sub panel. Jesus, that's a lot. Yeah, I have 4. I have a main switch, 4 circuits, and space for 1 or 2 more. Yeah. Well, at some point I will probably put an EV charger out front, so that's 1. And I might need to upgrade the supply, or upgrade the consumer unit just to be able to handle that load. Because I don't remember if the tails from the fuse to the meter are big enough. I think the tails from the meter to the consumer unit were upgraded with the consumer unit itself, but this doesn't matter. Oh, Andy, my tech guy said to me, running my games off an M.2 NVMe, whatever it's called, from a mechanical hard drive and make my gameplay experience better, and if so, how noticeable? Has got me worried the mechanical will fail eventually. Actually, yes, if you have a mechanical hard drive, moving your games to a solid state drive can actually give you a better experience. It can give you more performance in some cases, but also just like straight loading stuff is way faster and it's a much better gaming experience. The mechanical drive will fail at some point. Often, the best thing about mechanical drives is that they do tend to give you some warnings before they outright die. And technically speaking, when they do die, it's not the end of the world, because unless they've exploded, the data is still there. You just need to be able to read it. That is possible. But yeah, basically that's the rub. It is better. I have one mechanical drive left in my PC, and it's only because I can't be able to put another M.2 in my PC to copy the 2 terabytes of data that's on that drive off of it. It still works, and I barely touch it. It's just there for the occasional thing that's still on it that's useful. So yeah, I would recommend it if you can, if you got the space. And yeah, mechanical drives will fail. I mean, all drives will fail eventually, but SSDs are generally more reliable. 0 moving parts. Except electrons. Thank you very much, Chris. 3.5 years. Jesus, that's a very long time. But thank you. Hope you enjoyed the Discord. Had the board out the other day to change my house's main fuse. It burned out. The guy told me it was made of sand. Yes, old fuses often had sand in them. In fact, technically speaking, they still do. It's a slow blow fuse. It'll be a bit of wire encased in sand, which helps for short loads it not burst. But for sustained loads, it will heat up enough to snap and fail. Generally speaking, you don't have fuses these days. You have what we often colloquially call breakers, but they are resettable, normally, fuses that can often have other features built in, like RCDs, residual current devices. Americans call them GFCIs, ground fault current interrupter, I think. Circuit interrupter. Anyway, point is, they check that you're not being electrocuted, basically, and then very quickly switch off. So yeah. Current interrupter, thank you. I was guessing. Guess I got it right. I've also got 2 weeks to fix the ABS light in the Volvo before the MOT expires. Do I replace the control module / pump that the Diag tool says is the problem, or simply remove the LED from the dash? Well, I know what I would do. I'd fix the damn thing, buy a part on eBay, or go to a scrapper and find one. They might not be made, but you can buy a used one that works. We have an upstairs lighting ring, downstairs lighting ring, upstairs plugs, downstairs plugs, and kitchen. No fuses blown yet, but presumably RCDs and GFCIs would have tripped before. Yeah, fair. I think, do I have individual RCDs? Type A and Type B or whatever RCDs, individual or whole circuit, and I can't remember which one I have. It's probably the worst one. Oh dear. Wouldn't have known that a month ago. Now I feel like I've done a crash course in electric and know so much I don't need to know. Well, the dangerous part is once you know, feel like you know enough to start tinkering with shit. That's when it gets dangerous. Although I did accidentally shock myself with 240 volts the other day. It was from a discharging capacitor. I unplugged the lights that I was mentioning earlier, and I accidentally touched the live plug, and got a wee zap from a discharging capacitor. Hurt a bit. Wasn't exactly pleasant. But I'm here. Hello, Jim. How you doing? How's things? Because I'm a responsible gentleman, yesterday I plugged 8 48-port PoE switches into a single extension lead, and not a rack mount one either. Oh Jesus, there's the fire building. Type A trips really easily. Type B is more common in households and garages with regular trip inhibitor. Type C is more commercial and high loads. Thanks, nice. Hello, John. How you doing? Good to see you. The emergency number for the National Grid is 105. Interesting. There you go. Isn't type A... Oh, no, it is. Okay. So type A shit, type B's better. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I definitely can't have type A RCDs because all of your like computers and monitors and things all essentially purposefully put a little bit of current into the ground pin basically. And I have a lot of computers in here and in the house in general. So I actually have pretty high ground current in the grand scheme of things. Which is normal for the amount of shit that I have. It's not great for an RCD because it means that if you add extra stuff, it starts tripping off. I have done that once, and then powered the thing off with solar instead. So yeah. My dad had a 3-day power outage a few weeks ago. Not once could he get hold of National Grid. Lovely. Would that be? I think you'd want the DNO, the district network operator. The knowledge is scary. I actually know things now. I don't like it. I know. When I called 105, they came round in just under an hour and took 20 minutes to fix it. Nice. I'd imagine you're running BRCD in your house. If it was A, you'd be tripping all the time. Yes, that's what I mean. I think that there are two different like ways to wire up the RCDs though. You can either wire them up as one RCD protects every circuit, so essentially your main fuse is also an RCD, or your main breaker is also an RCD, or you can have each of the individual breakers be RCDs themselves. I can't remember if my individual breakers are also RCDs or not. Mostly because I have to assume that's slightly more expensive, and it was the landlord that paid for that part. So, yeah. If I was paying, I would have done it properly, and I would have used the bigger boards, so I could upgrade into it easier. Oh dear. Does anyone know if Nvidia ever had a 90 and a Titan in the same series? My brain says no. We haven't had a Titan in quite a while. Oh yeah, I guess the 690, but the 690 was not a 90. Yeah, the 690 was dual 680s with an SLI chip on the board. Both AMD and Nvidia have done that a few times. Put two GPUs on a single board and then, paired them together. But one wasn't a great idea, and two, they don't do it anymore. RCBOs cover both. Yes. What's the? Oh, I'm thinking of arc fault detection. Which is not currently standard, like required as any of the standards, but is considered. But it's way more. Those are way more expensive. If I remember rightly. Here's a good one for you. Each time we had an internet outage, my service provider sends me an email saying unexpected problems. How do you get the email when the net's down? And send one for the fix. Genius. They should text. NVIDIA just added another layer into the lineup and hoodwinked us. They don't compare the 4090 and 5090. The 5090s, but the 5080 should have been. From the specs, it sure looks like that way. Yeah. Well, there was a 3090 Ti, right? Have I got any review GPUs? God, no. I wish I did. No, I've been on. I think I have never been on Nvidia's launch schedule. I wasn't on Intel's launch schedule for either of their launches, and I haven't been on AMD's launch schedule in quite a while too. So sadly, not. In fact, I think I don't have any 40 series cards in the house at the moment, and I think I've only had a couple of them in for short periods of time. Yeah, fun. It makes like reviewing GPUs kind of difficult, CPUs difficult as well, because I am on at least Intel's launch schedule for those, and I can generally get some of AMD's ones. But you need good GPUs to be able to test the CPUs properly. How well? You have to be your own GPU. I am insane, but I'm not that insane. I did make a video on how to make a GPU many years ago. It was bad. I was sitting here actually. I used to film in here. I'd put the camera over there and I'd film this way. Horrible. Thank you, Kishav. I got a replacement riser cable from Heights. They've also sent me back the original one too, which is strange. I mean, fair enough. I guess you can show what's wrong with it. Show what's changed. Yeah. I like that you forgot the D in my name there. That's the part I'm keeping, you know, right? Come on, you can't forget that part. Nothing else is changing, not that. So I have a 10% finance deposit. Kashav, any suggestion for a B650E or X870 motherboard? So I did a video about B850 boards, which kind of explains. Whoops. Right now, I would generally not recommend anything other than a standard B650 board. However, if you do want more I/O, I would look for something probably in the mid-range. Like even the cheapest boards that you'll find have VRMs that are very much suited for any of the chips and then some. So I wouldn't worry about the VRM configuration. I would just look for whatever one has the features that you're looking for at basically the lowest price you can find. I'm actually confused due to PCIe 5. So while one of the comments was that while the 50 series will support PCIe Gen 5, we're not. You don't need it. I don't think that, like, even the 4090, we are making full use of PCIe Gen 4 yet. So for, well, as you say, a 5080 or 5070, you do not need to run the card at Gen 5 to get the full speeds and full performance. I do not think that we are at the limit of PCI Gen 4 bandwidth for graphics cards, especially on an X16 slot. So I really don't think it matters that much. I don't think it's going to hurt performance at all. So the only real reason is maybe for forwards compatibility, like in 3-5 years, maybe it might matter slightly. But at that point, you can just get a new motherboard. You'll probably want to upgrade the CPU motherboard in 5 years anyway, so, like... yeah, so I think I wouldn't be worried about PCI Gen 5 personally, which is why I recommend a standard B650 board like the B650 plus Wi-Fi, I think it was. It's linked in the video description if you want to take a look. But yeah, just basically any decent priced and decent featured B650 or a B650E if you really want some better PCI Gen 5 support and sort of boards compatibility. Because otherwise, yes, it's just a lot of money for a motherboard for features that you won't really make use of. I don't think. Will you be able to buy a 50 series? I tend not to buy hardware if I can get my hands on it otherwise, so I'll probably get my hands on some eventually. Whether it's for keeps or not, I'll have to see. I'm still using a 3060 in my own PC, so I'm considering upgrading that at some point. No worries. I have to run my 6900 XT at Gen 3 speeds due to my riser cable not being good enough. Is there any benefit to getting a Gen 4 one? Rebar and SAM still work. Honestly, I want to say I think Hardware Unbox did some testing with that sort of class of card, and I don't think that there was really that much of a performance hit. So check out their video to see. Because I think they did, at very least, 3090 Ti, whatever, testing. Which, by the way, it was Jim talking about the NVIDIA cards. I think it's very possible we'll see a 5090 Ti, which we have seen before. Yeah. PCI Gen 5 could be useful when NVIDIA finally releases the $200 card, the 5030 with 2 PCI lanes and 4GB VRAM. Yeah, but when you're talking about spending $400 on a motherboard to get good, connectivity and whatnot, instead of $200 for the cheapest one, does it really matter? Yeah. I'd do it if I got more SSDs, then run the GPU at 8x. Fair. Bifurcate, yeah. That's quite true. Sarcasm is quite difficult to detect in text form over the internet. They did what? I mean, what card did they do that with? Not 2 lanes. It was 4. Was it 4 lanes or 8 lanes? And was it AMD or Nvidia that did that, or both of them? Yeah. The reason I missed the sarcasm is because that's been done before. Although $200 cards, yeah, you're right. That's not gonna happen. What games do you play? Because normally gamers tend to go overboard. They do. I mean, for the most part, I work. I build these tools. I make these videos. Yeah, currently I'm very ill. Some more stuff. I've just bought this house and I'm repairing it myself with my friends. So yeah, for the most part, I don't. But PUBG. We've been playing a bit of CS2. I was playing some Trackmania. Um, what else? Playing Planet Coaster because I bought that the other day. I need to play Firewatch, GTA 5, Hitman. I did play the all of Starfield, Helldivers 2, Siege, El Corsa. Yeah. I don't have that. RX 6400 is a 4-lane PCI card. Damn. AMD, man. There's a humble bundle for it at the moment. Fair. Doesn't seem like my speed, to be honest. 6500 XT is PCI Gen 4 by 4. That is low. uh, and yes, I do a lot of work. It's a problem. It's part of distraction from my various health conditions and things, and part because that's the only thing that is like paying for this house. So, yeah, I get a lot of satisfaction from the tools in particular, like physically making something and then selling it, and having other people find it useful is really nice. Uh, ba 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 ba. Fair play, Chris. Can't blame you. Is it okay if I ask about your health? What happened to you? I'm remarkably open about pretty much everything. I have a lot of autoimmune conditions. Mostly, well, okay. My eyes are falling apart. I have ulcerative colitis, so my guts are on fire. I have palindromic rheumatism, which is joint pain. I have lumbar lordosis, which is my spine is disfigured. I have asthma. What else do I have? I have autism and ADHD. That's another. Not autoimmune, just makes me special. Um, and probably other stuff I'm forgetting. General stomach problems. I've had several duodenal stomach ulcers as well. So yeah, it's just my body is failing. uh, it's terminally failing. And so yeah, I'm just trying to manage my symptoms. Amnesia is part of the ADHD. uh, it's because you've worked way too much. No, the work is the distraction from the pain and suffering. And yeah, back pain sucks. I've had back pain since I was 15, 16. It's been gradually getting worse over time. Hope I get well soon. I mean, so do I, but all of these conditions are incurable conditions. They're only treatable, but not curable. So I need to keep taking medicine for the rest of my life to have any amount of quality of life left. Um, so yeah, fun times. What's your take on the Core Ultra 7 for a new build with a 5080 playing at 4K? So generally speaking, the higher the resolution, the lower the CPU tends to matter. Now it's not quite that simple, because a really slow CPU will still suck at 4K regardless. That's not to say that the 275K, 265K, 265K. That's the one I have. Is what you call it? Is a really slow CPU. It's not. It's perfectly decent. I think the thing is that for similar money, AMD is making considerably faster chips that use the same or lower power, have a better upgrade plan, and so it's hard for me to happily recommend, especially the Core Ultra 200 series. That being said, the 265K is still a perfectly decent chip. It is about as fast as the last, the 14700K, which means it's decent. But I can't remember what the pricing's like, and what AMD's chips, what chips are out. Let me double check. Okay, so there's still on the 9800X 3D. I guess so compared to Ultra Arrow Lake 265. Yeah. So the 265K is about £380 compared to the 9800X 3D, which is 530. So it's a pretty penny for the AMD one, despite the AMD one being a fair bit of what you call it? Fair bit faster. Yeah. So I think the things that I would consider are how much does the CPU affect the games that you're playing? Assuming you are playing games. Where's the chat? I'm playing in 4K, so yeah, sure. And how much do you care about things like power consumption, thermals, upgradability? Because these motherboards are only expected to last for one more generation, so another set of chips will come out, the Core Ultra 300 series, but it's unlikely that 400 or 500 series chips will work in those boards. Whereas if you were to buy an AMD system, you can upgrade the CPU without touching the motherboard or RAM for several new generations. So yeah, something to consider. DLSS 3 versus FSR 3, what's your recommendation? Well, I mean, I think the general consensus is that DLSS is a generally better option that you should use when you have it. Obviously, if you have a non-NVIDIA GPU, or if the game doesn't support it or whatever else, then use whatever is available that gives you the best experience. But I think the general consensus is DLSS still gives better quality. Although actually, from watching the stream last week, was it Scarlet Witch was the username? They pointed us in the direction of a great video that I think is still in the stream chat. Yeah, from Threat Interactive. Let me copy text. So it's this video. Sure. Oh, that won't show up because I'm in the wrong account. Is the YouTube thing working again? Is that the wrong account? Nope. Okay. Nice. But why is that? Hold on, let me shut it up. There we go. But is that? Oh, there we go. Took me a minute. So yeah, that video is great at explaining why essentially why things like DLSS and FSR suck. From a technical and a game development perspective. So yeah, take a look. I have to give props to reviewers who look at some games with higher CPU utilization versus GPU utilization. Some games love CPU, others love GPU, and it helps to know the difference. Yeah, I think it's interesting to work out which games prefer which, because in my experience from testing laptops, which has also kind of dried up, which is annoying, you tend to work out pretty quickly, like. So a lot of laptops have kind of interesting configuration. So they might I tested one with a 3090, but it was slower than a lot of 3060 based laptops because the 4090 was in a thin and light machine that was like severely underpowered and undercooled for the chip, basically. Um, and so you essentially get the downside of uh, an underpowered GPU for the spec. But in some games, it did perform really well because the CPU got out of the way, or the CPU was the limiting factor, and that one had a faster CPU, whatever. But it is interesting to see for sure. That's one of the reasons that I like testing with Hitman 3 and using its built-in benchmark, because I wrote some code to take the data from the Hitman benchmark files and split out the CPU and GPU data independently, so you can see what basically how much performance the CPU is doing versus how much the performance the GPU is doing. And so yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm kind of tempted to buy a Radeon 7 for funny collection purposes, do I? I mean, according to Ish, the prices are still mental, so no. Buy a damn ABS pump for your Volvo. Thank you, Oddball. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's easily ABS pump money. Like, just buy a damn ABS pump used. CES had surprisingly less AI mentions this year. See? Hype dying down. Um, Come on, Brian. Wait, Oddball's gym, isn't it? Why did I forget that? It's still there, but it does seem more companies are being more open with it rather than slapping it on everything. Like I said in the video, the joke's dying out. Like, you can only put AI on literally everything for so long. Holy shit! It's been so long that I've forgotten which of the names I called you Yanni, but most people call you Zig. Hi Zig, how you doing? Good to have you. Ages. How's life down under? How's flying helicopters or planes or whichever one it was? It's been a while. I was going to call you Yanni again. That's how long it's been. How you doing, man? Are you back in Norway now? Nice. Well, how was it? How's things? How's life? You've got 4 minutes to tell us. Spill all, goddammit. Found out today that the dodgy patch panel can take down your whole network. I'm not surprised. In fact, my neighbour's BMW, funnily enough, broke again. Turns out that apparently one of the camshaft sensors shorted to battery positive, which fried the ECU a bit. So yeah, fun. I was surprised that that many errors could cause that much of a problem. Yeah. Not currently, Joe. I am already overwhelmed with everything that I'm doing currently. The idea of adding car stuff back in, besides going to the SMT day in probably May for some fun, but probably not even making any content. Um, yeah, you know. Considering going back, don't know to say. Yeah, I own a place now too. Congrats. Hope you. Oh, I guess if you're considering going back, it seems like you enjoyed yourself. So, awesome. Yeah, 2029. You're a bit early there. Or you're a bit far ahead. I'm not planning 5 years ahead, or 4 years ahead. I guess if you include this, I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Um, Put the ECU in the oven. Yeah. I did offer to, if it was the ECU that was blown, I can take a look at it and solder it back together if they need. But the garage is replacing the cam position sensor that's failed. What did I miss? Yes, it is. It's getting ridiculously long, really. I do need another haircut to trim it up a bit. Yeah, no. It's kind of annoying anytime I do any physical labor, it all like falls in front. So I need to wear it to the rustle of pills, a hairband or headband, whatever, to hold it in place. It's not even long enough to like tie up or anything yet. Do what I did and refuse to see any barber or hairdresser for 3 years. No, I like to be at least somewhat presentable. Like it's a little bit. I'll stick to my beard. Pretty decent length. Nice. I keep shaving, so yeah, pepper at the moment. Why not? I shall put you to work. Cheap labor, yay. Strap me to the front of the plane. Oh dear. See you, Simon. Catch you next week. I do have one more lighting problem. I want to upgrade the lights, like the standard room lights that are in here. The problem is that I want them to be Zigbee and I want them to be LED and color temperature changing and like really bright, and ideally like sort of an LED panel or something that lights the whole room, not a pendant. So I don't really want to use bulbs. I want an LED like plate, but then ugh, I can't find an off-the-shelf solution, so I'm itching to make something, and that's bad. Yeah. There's a bloke couple houses down from me who rides a bike. He just pulled in now and he leaves his bike idling for like 5 minutes every time he gets home, and it's rather loud. Annoying. But now you can change the lighting without worry of landlord's permission. Yes. It's a helicopter, but a deal's a deal, right? Hang on tight. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm doing a lot without landlord permission, in fact. A lot of repairs. I use LEDs in my tabletop gaming area. Lots of bright white light helps me see values in counters, tables, and books, etc. Nice. Oh, I didn't. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing he would do, but fair enough. Strap me to a blade and see how far it can be launched. More interesting than uni. When you own the house, all of a sudden you miss the landlord perks. No, the only reason I'm fixing them is because the landlord wouldn't. So there was no perk, there was just I was watching the house decay in front of me while it wasn't my job or ability to fix it. Now at least it is my job to fix it, and I have the ability to, and I have. Anyway, with that said, I'm gonna go stress out at home. Yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow for a video, Monday for a video, and next week for a stream. How's the RTX 2060 laptop? I was using it all today, actually, programming and writing scripts. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and yeah, I'll catch you all next Thursday for a stream and videos in between.